So last time we created this example, if I'm not wrong, that allowed us to tap into the student.xml file and read and display the data. Just as a refresher, in this example, we looked at the bottom picture where the XML data is created under students.xml. And we had document builder, which is a child of document builder factory, which was actually created from document builder factory, which then uses a document object through which we were reading the entire tree structure. Now in our next example, we'll be taking a SAX approach. Again, we'll have an XML document, but we will use a SAX parser factory object, which will use a SAX parser object, which will then use a bunch of event handlers to handle the entire XML document. That's basically the theoretical visual of this whole process. We will then be looking into the actual code. Okay, so that's the main difference between the two approaches. So let me create our next example here. We're going to create a new class called SAX parser demo. So as I said, the SAX parser works with handlers. Therefore, we have to create a handler to handle all kinds of events. Those events are start element as soon as the tag starts, an element as soon as the tag ends, and characters, which is to read the data inside the tag.
I accidentally pressed something really weird. I have everything. I didn't mess anything up, but I have what looks to be two of the exact same editor windows open next to each other. Is there a
Oh,
way I can get one of those go away?
can you X out one of the things?
No, it doesn't give me an option to exit out. It looks like two copies of the exact same text editor, and then if I were to press the minimize button, it just minimizes the entire editor.
Go under window editor. Is one of the toggles open?
I think I have toggle split editor vertical.
Oh, okay. Okay. Click on it again to see what it does.
Yep, you're right. Thank you.
Mhm. Okay, so now over here, we'll declare some variables. And the reason I'm creating these three variables is because we have these three tags in our XML document. If you guys remember from last time, our XML document has first name, last name, and score. So I'm creating three Boolean variables, one for each one of them. So when we are reading the tags, why are we creating Boolean variables for only these three? Because these are the only three that has data in them. So that's why we have set these variables to Boolean. That means if these tags are found, then we will turn these on and we will read the data. For all of the tags, we will not read the data. So that's why we have these items over here. Now we're going to start working with the handlers. Notice that the start element and end element events are very similar, except for the last parameter. Why is the last parameters not there in the end element? Because only the start element allow for attributes, not the end element. That's why we are also passing attributes in the start element, but not passing it in the end element. Is everybody done with these three event handlers?
Just finishing up 1 second.
Okay.
I'm all good.
Okay.
Yeah, same.
We'll come back to the code of the bottom ones later on, but let's start building the first one, the top one. If Q name, which holds the name of the element that you're reading, that equals ignore case student, because the student is the only one that has an attribute. That's why we are checking to see if it is student tag, then we would like to read its attributes. Otherwise, If you run into a first name tag, then turn the BF name to true. If you run into last name tag, then turn BL name to true. And fix the Boolean variable. I wrote an extra F. I call it BLF name on line 20. And if you run into score, then turn the B score to true. So as you are running into these elements, you do that, okay? I'm copying the if condition from start element, the very first one, and pasting it in the end element. And I'll not read the attributes because there are no attributes there. So I want to just display a message to the user when the user is done reading one student record done. So that's what the end element does. Let me know when you guys are done with both of these event handlers, and then I'll move on to the third event handler. So basically, what we are doing right now is in the start element will automatically run as soon as it runs into a start tag. And now we are checking that is the start tag student, or is the start tag first name, or is the start tag last name, or the start tag score. That's all we are checking. If the start tag is student, then we need to grab the student ID and display it. If the start tag is first name or last name or score, we will just turn both those Boolean variables to true. And you will see why in our final handler method. And the end element simply runs when you hit the end tag of any of the tags, but we only want to display that one student record read when you run into the end tag of a student. Now, inside the characters, this is where we will be tapping into our Booleans. That if the first name Boolean is true, that means we can now read and display the first name. And then after that, we will turn it off or false. Oh, my bad. B score. Okay. Let me know when you guys are caught up with. Oh, I made a mistake here. Characters. 1R. Okay. Now let's move to the main method. In the main method, we will use the file object to read the students.xml. Then, as I showed you in the diagram, that sax factory parser factory object is needed, based on which sax parser object is needed. So sax factory, sorry, sax parser factory. So we create the sax parser factory, and then we create the sax parser. After that, we need to create our handler, for which we created our user handler class. So user handler object. This is the one that will handle the events for me. And then I'll use my sax parser object to parse my file based on this handler. And you'll see that the sax approach, we're done. When you run it, you should be able to read the XML document, and you'll see that how sax parser is far simpler in coding than the DOM parser.
I see, at least if I'm correct, I see that you do not have your student's XML file within,
No, you don't put in the SRC folder. You put it at the project level, because otherwise it won't be readable by the bytecode.
so okay, so if I have mine inside of the week 6 folder, not inside of
Correct.
source, but
Yeah,
it's in the week 6.
Yes, that's exactly what I did too.
And I don't need to move it.
Nope, nope.
That's pretty cool.
It has to be in that folder, not in the SRC folder. Yes.
Did you get an out? Yeah, I didn't get an output.
Where is yours? Mine is directly under my folder. Did you, oh, so you're saying that you have it in your last week's folder?
Yeah.
Oh, no. You need to have in your current week's folder.
So I can copy paste it
Yeah,
just on the week
exactly.
7.
Exactly.
Perfect. Thank you.
Mhm.
Let's see. Perfect. It didn't read it the way yours did. It just said one student record done.
Oh, no, it should.
I don't have any errors.
Yeah, you probably check your handler names, because these handler names have to match. You might have written a name which is acceptable name, but it's not the name of the handler. Because we are pretty much overriding these from the default handler. So if you, for example, if you wrote a name like this, that's a valid name, but it just like doesn't matches the name of the handler. So it won't complain. It's a logical error. It just won't call
Okay.
that handler at the start element. So check your handler names to make sure that, you know, you wrote characters, end element, and start element.
Yeah, everything looks spelled correctly.
Then let's have a look at your source code.
So I've got, unless main is because it's not capitalized, I don't think that has, but so start element.
Hold on a second, let me read it, okay?
Okay.
Okay, scroll down.
I'm gonna scroll just, yeah, never mind. Did I forget to just put, like, write something? Did I just forget an output that you have written?
I'm still reading, Tony.
Sorry.
Can you please show me your XML document?
Now, if there's something wrong in this, I apologize.
No, that's fine. Switch back to your, and then run this one again, please.
I'm gonna do just this button.
So it is reading the end element tag. Can you go to line 38 and go to the end of line 38 and hit enter? And just type here system.out.println, and in double quotes, just write test. Excuse me. And rerun your program. Okay, scroll up. So it's not even hitting inside any of these tags. Okay. Can you scroll back up to the main? Students.xml. User handler. Sax parser dot parse input file on the user handler. Start element. Copy line number 39. Line 39, cut it rather. Cut line 39 and go to the beginning of line 33 and hit enter. Beginning.
Was that correct?
No, undo the change. Go to the beginning of line 33. Yeah, right here. Run it again. I just wanted to see if it's even hitting the start element. Scroll up. So it's not even hitting the start element.
This is weird.
Okay. Scroll down and go to the end of line 58 and hit enter. And paste. Okay, run it again. Okay, so
It worked
it's-
this time. Whoa.
No, it's not. It's just telling you that the characters function is red. Okay, so basically something is wrong with start element. Let's try to figure that out. So you can delete line 59 and you can delete line 33. So at least we were able to pinpoint of something wrong with the start element. So let me start reading start element.
Nope, sorry.
Public void start element, string URI, string local name, string Q name, attributes, attributes. If Q name that equals ignore case student. Else if Q name that equals. Apparently everything seems good.
My class, so the class is supposed to close right here, correct? Because we start a new class.
Okay, yes, you are right. Yes, the class will close because that is a what you may call it, an inner
The inner
class.
class,
Yeah,
yeah.
yeah. I mean, if it was any such issue, then none of the methods will work. End element and characters are working. It is just like the start element for some weird reason is not kicking in for you. That's what
I'm
I'm
having the
trying.
same problem too.
Oh, you have the same problem. Anybody else has the same problem?
This is odd. But
Yeah.
I'm glad we get to solve this because this is a perfect debugging opportunity.
Who else has it? Luke or Braden?
Luke,
Luke, okay. Alec, do you also have the same problem? If you're speaking, I can't hear Alec.
Yeah, yeah, I'm having that problem too.
Wow. Okay. Interesting. Do one thing. Did you do right click on week 7? Go to properties. Go to Java build path.
Excuse me.
One minute. My build path matches exactly with yours.
This is so odd.
It is very odd. And I didn't had this problem with my other group. The other Java group. No, nobody complained about something like this, that one particular method is not working and all other methods are working.
What if you copy pasted your start element method into the comments and I just like replaced it with yours? Could we try that? Could it be my method is just, I coded it wrong?
I don't know. I copy pasted it right now in the chat. I mean, if you are not by, I mean, like, it couldn't be just you. I mean, everybody else.
Yeah, I don't know.
You can close this.
yeah, that didn't fix mine.
It fixed yours?
No, it didn't.
It did not. Right. That's what I was like. No, it will not fix your problem.
Nope. Hmm. Is it the fact that we haven't named SID?
No, I didn't. SID?
Yeah, in my student XML, we have SID.
Oh, that could be it. Yeah, try that. Just that. Just line 34. That's it. Go ahead and run it.
No,
No. Okay, yeah, that could be a problem. But yeah, okay. Because that is the correct name of the attribute. In my case, I have my attribute name as ID.
oh,
So,
okay, so maybe I
yeah.
should, let me just check the student
Yeah,
XML.
you have
I've got,
SID. Yeah, that's fine. Yeah, that makes
Yeah.
sense for you to have it that way.
mother, stop it. Hmm,
Can you right click on last week's project, week 6 project? And go to properties and go to library. Oh, you have the exercises in the class path. Try that. Hit cancel. Right click on the week 7 and go to
and
class
then,
path. Click on class path, click external jars. And I don't know where you put it in the download. Exercises, yep. Click on that. And then click apply and close. And then run it.
I think this is it. Nope, I
No.
was wrong.
This also did not fix it for you. Strange, so strange. So Braden, you also did not get it?
No. I was thinking maybe, was it something wrong when creating the new application? Maybe if Tony copy and pasted into a new one?
Yeah, but Tony is not alone in it. None of you can see it, right?
Yeah, me too.
So
So is it something we copied from you different?
no, I just wrote with you guys everything. Oh, you mean like in the XML document? No, that's basically how my XML document looks like. Because this XML document worked just fine with DOM last week for you guys. All methods are working for you guys except for start element for some weird reason. If characters work, because if characters did not work, then Tony would not have been able to print the test line from characters. And element is also working. That's why he's able to see one student record done. And it is the same if condition from line 47, that's on line 31 through 34. So it doesn't really make sense that, the same code works for me, but does not works for any of you.
This is not what you're going here, but this is kind of an interesting problem to have to solve.
It's weird. Um,
Could it be my imports?
you know what? That's not a bad idea to check. Oh, that's it. That
Ah.
is it. Delete your line number 2. Everybody, all of you, check your imports. Make sure you don't have the attribute class from the jar package. Organize your import again and choose the org.xml.sax package. Click on that, scroll back up to the top so that everybody can see your imports, and then run your application in the meanwhile.
Oh, yeah, that was it.
We are the champions.
Yeah, that fixed mine too.
I can't believe I fixed it.
Cool, that's it. I'm glad you are able to pinpoint the problem. So I think when you were organizing imports, you guys might, all of you might have clicked on the very first one that you ran into.
Yeah, that's what I did.
Okay.
I hate that it was that simple.
What a
Like,
hard little simple thing to find.
wow, amazing, amazing. So that's what the Sax approach does. It lets you load a file and then lets you set up the factory and the parser and create a handler. And to that handler, you can pass the file and the handler, which will help you go through that file one by one. First, it will hit the start element, then it'll read the character element, handler, and then finally with an end element handler, it will just close the tag. So it makes it so much different in terms of processing than the DOM approach. But DOM approach that we dealt with last week allowed us to go through it like a tree structure. Okay, so why don't you open your SRC folder here from week 6, Tony? Okay, right click and copy the DOM parser demo and paste it under the SRC for week 7. Okay, and double click on it and run it. Okay, so that's basically, we will be utilizing some of this code. So that's why I asked. So can everybody do the same? If you can bring your DOM parser demo from previous week to this week. And that's where we will start our process again then. So save this one as,
The DOM parser?
yeah, the DOM parser one, XPath DOM parser demo. XPath DOM parser demo. And then rename after you save the file as, rename the class. And then we will begin to delete some of the lines before we start working on the XPath. So what XPath does, I will explain it to you once we delete the lines that we don't need. So first of all, we will not be doing the column approach. So I'm deleting the columns here, lines 25 and 26. We'll get rid of the print line, the sum, the average, the print line method, the grade letters, all of that is going away. So this is what's left. Oops. So you can check your main with my main to see what is remaining, and everything other than main, I deleted. When you run this example, you should see something like this, everything on the same line. That's fine. We'll fix that too, but not right now. This is just a check to make sure that the program is still executable or runnable.
I deleted node list, so I just need to declare.
Say again, Tony?
I'm getting an error. I'm deleting a bunch of stuff.
Yeah, okay, yeah.
Getting errors and stuff. So 1 second. So we got the input file, document builder. I'm gonna go grab some water real quick.
Sure. Are you okay?
Could you scroll down real quick? I just want to check my brackets.
Sure.
Okay. All right, I'm good.
So Luke, Braden, and Alec, you guys have this code error free. Make sure you run it to get the data. We'll wait for Luke to give us an okay. Okay. Now, the bottom line over here in the X path is that you build a path into your document, and then you read from that path. So right after I normalize my document, I will be building my path. My path is such that my root element is tag, my root element is class, and the child of the class that I want to read is student. So that's basically my path slash class slash student. On that path, I will build my XPath object. And my node list will not be tapping directly into a tag. Rather, we're grabbing it from XPath. Expression. So we are compiling this expression, which is this one, and we're evaluating it against the document. And the document is based on node sets, means there is a parent-child relationship between the nodes. As a result, the entire path will be inside nList. Then let me fix my printf instructions to println instructions. And that should, oops, let me read the entire data set as before. So let me complete the attendance in the meanwhile. So we have Alec here, we have Tony here, we have Braden here, and we have Luke here, missing Devin, Jessica, and Sparrow.
So we don't need a document builder, right?
Document builder, we still need all of that structure. The only difference is that we generated our node list on the XPath. So where will this come handy? This would come handy if
Oh,
you
I see what you're
only
saying.
want to read part of a document. So if your XML document has several paths, then if you want to only read one of the paths, then you can control that.
Cool. I see why we need it, because we have to make the program be able to read the document.
Exactly. Everything will be the same except for the fact that now, one of the good things about the XPath is that when you combine the XPath with XQuery, then you can dynamically read certain data items. Okay, I'll wait till everybody gives me a green check that they're done with this one. I know Tony is done, but let's see Luke, Braden, and Alec. Okay, so let's save this example as XQuery DOM parser demo. So now where the difference will come in for this particular example is that we will ask user to enter an ID and we will only read that student. So we will use scanner object. Enter student ID. Now I'm using the IDs that I have. You guys should go with your data set. Okay. So these are my ID values that are possible ID values that I have. I should probably not integer. Oops. I can have a string ID R for reading as my scan dot next. Okay, so I'm reading my ID and IDR. Next, in my path, to make it a little bit more customizable, I'll say student has an attribute called ID. Now, all of you have an attribute called SID, correct? So you should use SID instead of attribute ID. So where the attribute ID or SID has the same value as being entered by the user. Okay. Oh, my bad. I should close the square brackets on the other side. The square brackets that I start before the at should be closed on the other side. Okay, cool. And that's it. So what this example will do, will ask the user to enter a student ID and will only display that student ID. So if I enter a student ID that doesn't matches, then it shows nothing. So it only shows the matching record.
You got some crazy quotations. I have them placed exactly like you, but I'm getting an error.
Can you
For
share
my
your
quotation.
screen? Let's have a look at it then.
It's just on the syntax of
Go
like, the
ahead,
weird
share your
quotation.
screen and let me read it. Okay. Oh, you're missing a plus on the right of R.
So can you explain to me why we have to do this?
Okay,
What's-
now since you have a variable, IDR is a variable, you cannot put variable in the double quotes, otherwise it'll be treated as a string. So we are concatenating the variable with between the two strings. That's why you have the plus signs on both sides of variable. And since the value in your, if you switch over to your XML document, for example, okay, you notice how the 3333 is in quotes and 5050 is in quotes and 2245 is in quotes.
I see.
Okay, so now if you go back, so that's why we are saying the incoming value should be in single quotes because we already have double quotes for some other purpose. So we can do that. That in an XML document, it's in double quotes, but in Java, it's single quotes. The parser takes care of that because it knows that you want it to be treated as a string.
So you're basically just putting it in quotes for the user to see.
No, not for the user to see, for the parser to know that IDR is actually a string value in
Okay, I see.
quotes.
Okay.
Yeah, okay. So those single quotes that I used before and the single quotes that I use after, that's basically how the value will be enclosed.
There. Okay, cool.
Okay. So now when you save the changes, go ahead and run it.
So
Okay,
I'm
now enter
attacking.
one of those three values. Okay, and then you can get to see that record.
That's
So
tight.
X query pretty much makes it like it's a database. It's pretty much like you are querying a database kind of a deal. Luke, Braden, Alec, you guys got it?
Yeah, I'm all good.
Okay. So next, I am actually giving you guys a task in a group. We're going to set aside 20, what time is it? Yeah, 25 minutes. Let's set aside 25 minutes for that. I'll explain to you what I want what I want you to do. Just give me 1 minute till I write that in the chat. Did you all receive some kind of an image in the chat?
In class JPEG.
Yeah. Open that.
XML data app.
Yep. Do you see that with pictures and stuff like that? I mean, like with the form, XML form,
Is that
where you have enter an
Java
ID,
FX?
right?
Yeah, is it Java FX?
Yeah. So this is basically what I want you guys to do in
Should
a
be fun.
group is to create a Java FX application, which will accept an ID from the user. And upon clicking show data, will show the data in the text boxes as opposed to on the console.
Sweet.
Okay,
All right.
so I'm opening the rooms now.
How many? There's only 3 people, right?
There are 4 of you, so there are 2 per group.
Oh, cool.
You guys can see my screen now, right?
Yeah.
Okay, cool.
Yes.
So I basically set up my text fields, 4 text fields, as I showed you, and a button. Then I created a grid pane in which I started adding my items. So my items were in this order that I created. Oops. I created a label called enter ID, and I added my text field after that. And then I added my show button, and then I added my label and the next text field, label and the next text field, label and the next text field. So that's basically my setup. Then I said, when somebody click on the button, call the method display. That's where I'm writing the entire logic. I made my bottom 3 text fields disabled, so nobody can just click and start typing in them. You can only type in that top box. And then I set up my scene and add my scene to the primary state and so on and so forth. Now let's come to the display. I basically copy pasted my X query example in my display method and made some basic minor changes, such as instead of reading the ID from the scanner object, I read it from the text box. And the rest of the code is very similar, except for instead of system.out.println, I'm putting them in the respective text boxes, and that's about it. Does that make sense?
Yeah, can we? I just want to try to get this to work. Because I was close. Will you scroll up to where you did the scanner? Or the scanner-esque kind of thing? No, back to the class, or the method, I apologize.
The display method, okay.
Yeah, up at the top.
Yeah, here.
Thank you. I'm getting a really weird error. Will you look at this with me? Or is it, yeah, I need
Okay,
to look
let's,
at this.
yeah, share your screen.
So I have a XPath defined here, and I have these errors.
Hold on a second, let me,
If
Okay.
I copy or if I paste another XPath here, why did it just do that?
hold on a second.
I'm gonna undo what I just did, so it's gonna shift again.
Okay. Okay, just wait.
I haven't changed what's down here yet.
Yeah, that's still, let me read it first, please. Can you, hold on a second. Can you hover over that error? The first one, the top one, on line number 65? That's where
So I
the
should-
main, no, line 65. Okay. You know, you did not put the stuff in the try block. I will share my screen again, Tony.
Okay, so I should just make a try catch block with an
Here,
exception handle.
I don't know.
Oh,
Okay, it's a try, and then, yeah,
so
because this requires that it be written in a try catch block.
okay. Your exception is just like exception E.
Yeah,
Cool.
did that work for you?
Yeah, I am trying to set just like just trying to display it and I'm doing something wrong.
How about Luke, Braden, and Alec?
Yeah, I'm almost done. Could you just show your button event handler real quick?
This one display?
No, the event handler.
Yeah, this is what I did. This is my event handler.
Oh,
the
you just
display.
put this. Oh, okay.
Yeah. That's what I did. I used the Lambda expression, and then I'm doing all my event handling through display. Braden and Alec, how you guys are doing?
Just adding a
Sorry,
few more things.
I'm having computer issues today. I'm not on my normal computer.
Oh, okay. And Alec, what were you saying? I didn't hear that.
I was just adding a few more things.
Okay,
I got it to work.
cool. Awesome.
Sweet.
So this just basically gives you a insight into how you can be creating all of this through a JavaFX application. And you can treat your XML document as if it's a database, you know, in a way that you are querying it like a database. You're searching stuff. You could be doing all sorts of stuff. So in the chat, I dropped the solution for this particular problem. So I mean, like for those of you who couldn't get to complete it, you'll have a copy of this on you. So Braden, for example, you know, that will give you a copy of the solution because you're having a little difficulty with your computer today.
Yes, thank you. Yeah, I'm
No.
at my parents today and like they have horrible internet and I'm not on my normal device, so
Yeah, that's another thing, you know, I mean, like, doesn't matter how much money you spend, you don't always get the best internet. I mean, on my Wednesday evening class, I was constantly getting disconnected, even though, you know, I have one of those very high-speed internet connections that I took from Spectrum. And I think some point in time, I should invest in hardwiring than relying on the Wi-Fi.
well, I don't know about you guys, but even at my house in Burlington, Spectrum still goes out like 3 times a week.
It's not going out. It's just like, you know, it's giving me horrible speed. Like my upload speed was 4.7 megabytes on Wednesday night.
I totally agree. And what I don't know about you, but what I pay for is like a $70 a month plan, which is a technically upgraded plan. And sometimes while I'm playing video games or doing homework, it is atrociously low. And I'm like, what do I pay for this internet for? But then I do have wired connection. And so like right now I got a download of 469. So that's pretty good.
Yeah,
And
I
20 and
mean,
22, 23.
and then, you know, it's a day and night difference, wired versus wireless. Wired is a lot stable and gives you much better speed. Probably I'm kind of thinking, you know, who to hire to get this job done? Do electricians do this stuff? I don't know. Yes.
I mean, I can help you if you like. I know all you have to do is have a Ethernet cable plugged into the back of your router and then into your stationary computer.
But yeah, but I have to go through the walls because I'm
Uh,
upstairs and the router is downstairs. So that's what I'm saying, you know, I would have
well,
some.
I do have a drill, so if that's what I did. I drilled through my walls.
And how did you fish it?
Well, I didn't have to because the way my house is laid out, I literally just got to stick it through the wall.
Oh, no, I have to
So
fish it up.
they have like you can, not trying to be a smart aleck, but we can Google like a fishing device, get it like at Home Depot that you would wrap around the end of a cord, stick it through and pull it,
And then
essentially.
go, okay. And probably go in the attic and then pull it all the way through on the other end of the house.
Yeah, that sounds like a whole bunch of work. So you should
Yeah,
have
that's what
somebody
I
come
was
to do
like. That's
that.
a whole bunch of work for me to go in the attic and fish all the way through and then go on the other end of the house and then fish it down. I would rather hire somebody to do that for me.
No, yeah, I definitely agree with that.
Yeah, you could probably get an electrician or someone to do that for you.
Okay. Okay. I'll probably maybe start calling people next week or so to see, you know, because most of my classes are Zoom, or at least half of my classes are Zoom. So it makes perfect sense to have a stable connection. Anyway, so let's take a break here, guys, till 10:15, and then when we come back, we will look at a few more examples with XML and Java. So I'll see you guys at 10:15. Okay, so what I want to do here is that I have an XML document with a certain structure. And that structure is coming into my Java program, and it's coming into my Java program as individual items. What if I can create a Java class with properties to match the innermost record structure inside my XML document? And as the values come in, instead of storing them individually, I want to store them in an object. So for every record in this class, I have a matching object in the Java, which will hold all those values inside its properties. Does that make sense?
Yeah, it makes sense because when you close out that student, that is one,
Yes.
it's one object.
Yeah,
Right.
exactly. So every record will be one object. So I probably will create 3 objects or an array of objects to store one record in each one of them. So as opposed to having those values standing out on their own, they are held inside a memory called an object. So that's basically an XML to object-oriented mapping. So
If I wanted to count students, I would go back to my Java program and I would make a variable for count and a place to show it. And then I would just say for each student that I read,
Yep,
count 1, 1.
exactly. You could do that, or you can create an array and then you can see the length of the array. And that will tell you however many records are there or objects are there. So there are, again, many ways of looking into this. So to get started, what we want to do is we want to create a class. So let's right click on the source and create a class. The name of this class, I'll call it student. No public static void main is needed because this is just a class with properties. We will use this class in our other classes. So this is my student class, in which I will declare some properties. So I'll have a property for my first name and a property for my last name and a property for my ID. Okay. So I'm creating 2 constructors here. One is the default and one is the overloaded. So that's the default call. And then inside the constructor is this dot fname equals to fname. And then I can generate my getters and setters for the properties. Give me a green check when you guys are done creating the student class and have saved it. Okay, guys, so now I want you to go back to your XPath DOM parser demo class. And then save it as OOP1 demo DOM parser demo, OOP1. Okay, and then rename the class. Right above the main, I'm creating a method which will help me display the student object. So public static void display, which will take a student object. So that method will then display the student ID, student's first name, and student's last name whenever we call it. So now we need to work on the logic of creating an object of student type in the main and filling that object with values and then display those values through the help of the display method. So that's my student object. Before populating, the values are, and I'll call display method and display the student object before the populating the values. Now I start out with my XML logic. So I'm opening a document builder, I'm normalizing it. I'm not taking the XPath approach, so I'll just get rid of the XPath approach. I'll just take the regular node list approach, which was doc dot get elements by tag name. And the tag name of the element that we are looking at is the student. So one by one, look at each and every student and then traverse through that list that way. However, we'll have a slight difference here, that instead of storing the values in the variables and then displaying them, we can use our student object dot set f name, and I can pass this entire value inside the f name. Should be not. Okay. And you guys have SID as opposed to ID because that's what we created last time. So, and then after that, we will now try to display this saying after populating data from XML, the values are, and then that's it. So now let's run this example. After you're done with, you will see that before populating, the values are 5666, John Carlson. And after populating, it will only show you the last because we constantly kept overwriting, right? So that's why we overrode the first object, then we overrode the second object, then we overrode the third object. So you can only see the third object. So we'll be making some more changes inside the if condition. So I just want to make sure that everybody can get this working, and then we'll start making some more changes in the if condition.
Does that automatically choose the last one?
It doesn't automatically see the first one came in, it stored that. Then right away, the second cycle in the loop, the second one
Oh.
came in and overrode the first one. So and then the third one came in, overrode the second one. So when the loop exited, the third one was the one that was inside. And all the other previous one were overwritten because this is not an array. So we will change this to an array logic, and then you'll be able to store all of them. Does that make sense?
Yeah.
Okay. So give me a green check when you guys are done with this example. I think Braden, he was having some internet issues, might be dropped. I hope he can join again. Now let's save this example as oop2 DOM parser demo, because now I will be changing this logic to accommodate an array. So right after you change the name and rename it, where you have the student object new student, that's where we will start out by creating an array. Student array, student objects objs, and I want to create a student array of size 3. And then I want to loop through this process. Manager I equals to 0. I should be less than stud objs dot length I plus plus. Okay. Welcome back, Braden.
Thank you. I'm
Oh.
sorry, it's just not my day today.
You know what? I'll drop in the chat the previous example that we did, which was DOM parser, no, demo oop one. Let me see if I can drop it again. Okay, so DOM parser demo oop, or yeah, no, we called it oop, whatever, you know, I mean, you can then get the code from that one.
Thank
We
you.
are just changing that example. We saved that example with number 2, and we are now making some changes for it to have an array.
Okay.
Okay, so we are inside the try block. So we first of all ran it with a single object. So it was a single object that was running through an XML document. So since it's one object, the first time it ran, it took the value from the first record. The next time it ran in the same loop, the second record overrode the third one, the first one, and the third one then overrode the second one. So when the program ended, the object was only holding the last record because every record was overriding the previous records. So that's why we are now creating an array-based solution so that we can preserve all records simultaneously in the memory. Okay.
Okay.
So for that purpose, we are now writing a main, an array. We're declaring an array of size 3, and we're traversing through that to display what the values are before getting them from the XML. So before populating from XML, the values are, or I should rather write it once outside the loop. Okay. Like that. Okay. So before populating from XML, the values are, and then it goes to each of the values. And then we will go down and fix a few other things. So on lines 43 all the way through 45, instead of writing it in an object, we will now be writing it in an array. So we're saying student objs, and we are already running a counter over here, right, guys? The end list counter, the length of the end list is the same as the length of the array. So there are parallel arrays. And that's the second change that you will make. And the third change will be your display logic. I just copy pasted the logic from above, and I'm changing the word before to after. And you go ahead and run your application. Hold on a second, what's going on here?
That's mine. That was what I was getting. I think we have to change the display method.
We don't need to change the display method because display method is only receiving one object at a time from student. And it is just simply to display the value of the getter, a value of ID, first name and last name for that object. So we created an object of student type. We made a very big mistake. You know what mistake we made? We declared an array,
And
but
didn't
we
initialize.
never instantiated the array objects. You have to still do this, that every object has to be instantiated. Yeah, so that's why, nothing is getting displayed. Now it will display everything. We declared an array, but we never instantiated each array element. Okay, everybody get this working? Everybody got this working? Okay, look at it.
Yep.
Okay, Tony got it, Ali got it. Braden is still working on it. Okay.
I'm all good. Sorry, it took me an extra
Okay.
second.
That's fine. So let's move on to our next example where we will use Java to generate an XML document, right? We'll be creating an XML document from Java. So let's create a new class. Let's call this one create XML doc from Java for the public static void main. Okay. Okay. I will be copy pasting some of the code from the previous example. So bear with me. These 2 lines, these 3 lines rather, I'll just take these 3 lines, document factory builder, and document. I'm copying those 3 lines. I know I don't have input file, so we'll take care of that in just a minute. So copy paste these 3 lines or 2.5 lines. Since we are not working with an existing XML document, and rather we are working with, we will be creating a new document. Therefore, instead of saying db.parse, we will say db.new document because I'll be creating a brand new document. And now it's time for me to start creating the root element for my document. So I'm creating an element object, and I'm using the document object to create an actual element. And I'll call this one cars. So when I'm creating an element, it automatically creates the start and the end tag. So I don't have to worry about putting in the start tag and the end tag. And this is how I will do it. I will use the doc and I'll say, you know, doc, I'm adding a child called root element. So since that is the first child that I add, it automatically makes that to be the first line. And that will be the main tag in which everybody else will be added.
Which element import should we use? The W3?
Can you see my imports?
Yeah. I'm
Yeah,
sorry,
okay.
I didn't see that before.
Add the root element to the doc. So the first element that is added automatically becomes the root element. Now we need to start working with child elements to the root element or for the root element. Okay. So I'm creating an element called supercar. And notice that I am adding this to the root element, not to the doc. So this is how I can make an element appear as a child of another element by adding it as its child and not as a doc's child. So supercar is a child of root element, which is car. We will also learn to set attributes of elements. So for that purpose, I can create an attribute doc dot create an attribute called company. So that is my attribute. And supercar object will receive this attribute. Are you guys following it so far?
Somewhat, yeah. Yeah, it's
Okay.
kind of, it's interesting.
Okay. So basically, if I were to visualize it, this is what basically I'm doing. I have asked on line number 17 that I want to have cars. Let me increase the font size here. So I've asked on line number 17 that I want to have cars. And on line number 21, I am asking that I want to have supercars with an S because that's what the tag name is. Inside the double quotes is basically the tag name. So I've asked a child called
I see.
supercars as a child of cars. And then I'm going to the supercars on line number 26 and saying, I'm going to add an attribute called company with a value of Ferrari on line number 25 and 26. That's what I'm doing. Now, does that make sense?
Yeah.
Yeah,
We're
that
just
makes a lot
rebuilding
better
the
sense
structure.
now.
Yeah, we're rebuilding the structure of the XML document. And the
Exactly.
way that now that I see, elements and then the attributes on the word, it makes sense.
So, okay. Now let's start going further down in the structure. So now let me add children to supercar. So let me create an element called car name equals to doc.create element called car name. So we created an element called car name. We created an element called attr type of attribute type, and the name of the attribute is type. We are putting the value formula1 as its value, and then we are assigning the attribute to car name. And now I need to add some text to the car name. So car name dot append child. So you also add text as a child. So doc dot create text node Ferrari 101, for example. So visually, let me show you what I did here visually. I created a tag called car name. That's what I did when I append the child, line 34, when I append the child car name to supercar. Car name has an attribute called type with the value formula1. And the text that is written between the opening and closing car name is Ferrari 101. So that's the whole structure I did here. Let me know if that makes sense, what we did here.
I think it makes sense.
Yeah, it makes sense. You can
So
just make a class basically in a top-down structure, but from a Java application.
yeah, so we're basic XML document. So now let's transform this entire stuff from in memory to an actual disk space. So we will now write this DOM structure to an XML document. So we will use transformer factory Oh, hold on a second. I think I called the. Okay, should be transformer factory dot new transformer. That's the method I should call. So I created a transformer factory. From the transformer factory, I'm creating a transformer object, and the transformer object, after I created, I'm creating a source object of DOM source type because I want to create, because whatever I build in memory is a DOM structure. So I'm grabbing the entire structure I created, which is inside the DOC object, and giving it to the DOM source. And now I will create a stream result object which is where I will give the name of the new XML file that I'm about to create that will be called cars.xml. It doesn't exist right now, but it will come into existence as soon as the next line runs, which is transformer dot transform source, which is the DOM source, and XMLR is basically where we want it to be transferred. And now we will also check to see if this went through by creating another stream result object for console purposes. But this time the stream result object will send the output to the console as opposed to the file. So that's why, oh, I should be system.out. System.out. So this stream result object is sending the data to cars.xml, and this stream result object con is sending the data to the console. So we will now use the second one, t.transform. This time send the source to the console as opposed to sending the source to the XMLRs, just to make sure that the data that we are working with was formulated in the XML format. So now when I run this example, look at the output. This is basically what I'm sending to the XML document.
So is there a way we can view that cars XML document other than
Yep.
in the fire or
Yeah.
file
Yeah.
explorer?
Yeah, all you need to do is right click on your project and refresh.
Oh,
Yeah, right click on the
ha ha ha
project
ha.
and refresh, and you'll see cars.xml. I just did that so that you know how it is going in.
Sweet. This is cool.
Everybody got this? Okay. Now let's add one more object to the same XML document. So let's scroll that back up to this place where I'm adding children, right? Car name. I just copy this whole structure. Copy this and paste it again. Okay. Now I'll start changing the names to car name 2, attribute 2, and I'll just do 2, 2, 2, right? So I'll just do 2s wherever it was the previous object names. Okay. So this is still a car name. The attribute is still called type. The attribute's value will change from, let's say, Formula 1 to sports. And the node, instead of saying Ferrari 101, let's say says Honda Civic Sports. And then I'm adding car name 2. And I'm adding attribute 2. I'm adding attribute 2 to the car name 2 and adding car name 2 to the supercar. And then run it to see that now you have 2 children inside the supercars. And now refresh the source. Refresh your project to see the cars.xml and then double click to open it to see that now it has 2 children. With me so far, right, everybody?
Yep.
Okay, so now when you open cars.xml, do you see that the whole thing is on one line, correct? And you can see both objects. Now we need to learn how I can break it up into different lines, just like traditionally the XML document should be. So to make that happen, right after you create your transformer object, type t dot set output property. Set output property. The first argument will be output keys dot indent. And the second argument will be, yes, I want to indent. And then you run your program and check your output after that one line. See, everything is nicely done.
That was easy.
And then also refresh your project and reopen cars.xml. Yep. So it does the whole transformation through indentation for you.
That's cool.
Yeah. So what I did different this week is that since we were still working on the same topic, I just changed the name of the unit to unit 6 and 7. And then we are in the same topic. So if you completed quiz for Java networking, well and good. Otherwise, I've given an extension on that as well till the end of Friday next week. And then if you keep scrolling down, I've added a homework assignment number 4. Okay. Read the assignment and let me know if you know, if you understand what I want you to do.
You want it shown on a Java FX form?
No, no. It's very similar to how we did student and OOP2 example. Remember that today?
Yeah.
Okay, so that's exactly what you got to do. I've given you an XML document called employees.xml. You will download this document. You will attach it to your Java project, and then you will create a Java class to map the record structure of the XML document. And then you will write another Java code, which will read the data from employees, store it in an object, and then display it.
Okay, so just to be correct, we're gonna need 2 classes and the XML documentation. So
Correct.
one
You need one
okay.
class for the structure and another
reading
class
it
for
in.
processing the XML and the structure. So this is modeled exactly the same way as student.java, OOP2 parser, and student.xml. If you remember that example that we did like an hour ago?
Oh, yep.
Yeah,
Okay,
yeah,
cool.
Yeah, it's around this. It's along the same lines. It's
No,
just
yeah,
like
that makes sense. Yeah, I
yeah.
was kind of confused. I thought I was gonna have to make 2 like Java programs with dealing with data and building documents and stuff.
No,
But
no,
now that
no.
makes sense that I'm just building the class to
Yes,
represent the
yeah.
employee and then.
Exactly. And then you will create another Java class, which will use that structure from employee.java and grab the data from XML, put it in that structure, and then display the structure.
Cool.
Is everybody else okay? Did everybody else also understand what we are doing?
Yeah, that makes sense.
Yep.
Okay.
Yeah, sounds good.
Okay. So basically my thing is this, that I want you to solve a problem which is similar to the problem that we solved in class. However, this time you're doing it on your own. So next week, we will be then tapping into JDBC, Java Database Connectivity. And after that, we will then go into the Java server-side programming. Okay, so I'll see you guys next week.
Have a good one.
You too. Thank you.